Hello, welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button and a bell below if you want to be notified as to when I upload more content. And by subscribing, you also help support my little channel. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of this land. So this video is going to be about the new moon, which will be taking place here in Adelaide on the 20th of April at 1:42 p.m. It'll be 29 degrees of Aries. And it's a little bit unusual that we have two new moons in a row in the same astrological sign, because the previous new moon in March was also in Aries, right at the beginning of Aries. Depending on where you live in the world, this may be taking place on the 19th of April, so you might want to investigate that. Coupled with this new moon, which is probably the main focus of what I'm wanting to share with you today, is that there's going to be a solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse occurs when the moon moves between the sun and the earth. And in doing so, it actually hides the sun. That's a total eclipse, or it could be a partial eclipse where part of the moon, this part of the sun, is blocked out. It is purported to be a total eclipse. However, here in Adelaide, it will actually be a partial eclipse, and it'll only start, say, around about 12:23 p.m. and ending 2¼ hours later, around about 2:35 p.m. according to the website timeanddate.com. If you are in Southeast Asia, other parts of Australia, the Pacific or Indian Oceans, and also Antarctica, you may see the total eclipse there. So, eclipses are often seen as times of transformation, like a real sort of kick, so to speak, to get things moving. And we've had a lot of energy of late, or a lot of sort of astrological encouragement, shall we say. Well, in fact, we've had 3 years of it, of clearing stuff out, changing our mindset, or getting rid of stuff that's no longer in alignment with us, in particular ways of doing things. At the time of this new moon, and currently we actually have a lot of planets in Taurus, and you might be saying, hey, you've just said that the new moon is in Aries, but Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about the I am. It's about our self-identification, who we are, how we identify ourselves. Taurus, which is the next sign, is about our values. So the two are interrelated, and we have a lot of planets in Taurus as well, especially in those early degree signs, all influencing this new moon and eclipse. So I think it's important to sort of blend the two together, because Taurus is all about our 3-day reality. It's all about the earth, our connection with the earth, our connection with nature, with the natural world. It's about being practical, about grounding. It's also about our home, our sense of home, where we call home. And to find out how this new moon and eclipse will affect you, if you have your astrological chart, birth chart, look at first where Aries is, what house it's in, and also what house Taurus is in, because these will actually excuse me, give you indications of what will be triggered, what will start pinging around this present time. Taurus is also about the physical self, this body. And it's interesting because Pluto's moved into Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about new adventures, in particular AI, or these astrologers that I follow who are listed below, who have also helped contribute towards this video, have mentioned Aquarius and the AI, artificial intelligence connection, with Pluto bringing to light the shadowy connection with AI. So here we have the sort of like contradicting energies. We've got Pluto in Aquarius with the AI, which is all about the sort of ego, the head stuff. We've got Taurus, which is all about the body, the heart stuff. This is where the soul is. So it's reminding us to come back. So I've got another computer doing stuff. To our physical reality. What makes us human? Our bodies. As I said, where we feel safe, where we feel grounded, where we feel protected. We also, in May, so a bit of jumping a month ahead, we have Jupiter, the planet that expands everything it touches, moving through Taurus. And it'll be moving through Taurus for the rest of the year until about May next year, 2024. So again, there is this focus on us as a human being. And Jocelyn Starfair, they used the phrase organic sovereignty, and I like that. So it's like coming back to being human as opposed to relying more and more on technology, and even there are rumours out there that AI is marching down the track of maybe implanting chips into us. I don't know where that sits with you, but it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, so just looking at these notes here, there are, when it comes to the eclipse, there are other planetary influences around which can all impact how we move through this new moon eclipse. So I might actually do a separate video on some of these other points, because I really want to focus on the eclipse, because eclipse season is transformation, and so there are things pinging left, right and centre, depending whether these things are happening in your chart. You could very well be triggered, and there could be big things that will happen. So to see where the transformation is going to happen to you, excuse me, look at where Aries is. Right, we're on the cusp of Aries, right at the end of Aries and beginning of Taurus. We're looking at 29 degrees of Aries. This is what I'm talking about, Taurus. And see where what houses that falls in your charts. This will be the first Aries or Arian eclipse since 2015. So it's going to be activating all those Aries energies within ourselves. As I said, Aries, first sign of the zodiac, so it's all about I am. It's all about our self-identification, who we are now. There's also that realization as to who we are no longer. That makes sense. Yes, I think that makes sense. So where are we in the greater scheme of things? What makes up our identity? Are we still hanging on to an identity that we have outgrown? Are other people attaching an identity that we no longer relate to? These are things that could actually be surfaced. Some astrologers have mentioned that when there is a new moon solar eclipse at the end of an astrological sign, this is indicating an understanding of where or what we've actually been through, what has actually shaped us to get to this present point in time where we are at, what we have actually grown out of and no longer applies to us. So again, we're looking at, moving into Vedic teachings, we're looking at Muladhara, we're looking at our root or our base chakra, or our foundational stuff that everything else is built upon. As I said, Aries is in relation to self-identity. And I find this rather interesting because currently I am, I wouldn't say reinventing myself, but I am definitely heading in a different direction. That will be brought to light probably more so over the next couple of weeks and months, even years to come. So we're looking at who we are and what makes us. And as I said, eclipses, a transformation, they actually start or kick off these really big energies of something new. So again, look at your chart. Look to see where this Aries Taurus sort of conjunction is lying in your charts, what houses they are, because these are the areas which will be affected. And you might not be aware of these changes at this present point in time. It could take up to 6 months, like to the full moon in Aries, which will be around about September, before it comes into your consciousness. But before it's complete, or you might, like myself, have an idea already. And again, it'll be around about self-identification. I'm just mindful of the time, because I tend to be waffling. So we do have big players, in particular Pluto, 0 degrees of Aquarius. This is, and I've mentioned this in another video, going to have huge impacts on this eclipse and other eclipses we have. When there's a new moon eclipse, there's also 2 weeks later we have a full moon eclipse that will be happening in 2 weeks time, or 2 weeks after the Aries eclipse. I'll talk more about that closer to that time, because Pluto can make it feel initiatory, again moving through new energies, because it's actually clearing out old karma that's been hanging around, that again no longer aligns with us, no longer applies to us, that we've been holding on maybe for safety. Remember that Taurian values? We're looking for safety, what we call home, where we feel safe. And if things no longer make us feel safe, well then it's time to let them go. We also have Chiron being conjunct with the Sun. Chiron's the wounded healer. And Chiron relates to the deep wounds, deep soul wounds, inner child wounds, things that we may have thought we have dealt with in the past, but these keep coming up. So now's the time to finally let go of things, deal with things. So when an eclipse evolves Pluto, like this one is, it can also instigate a collective, or even world changes. Seeing a lot of sort of disruption in the matrix, so to speak. There could be paradigm shifts, so ways of thinking, how we do things, how we relate to things can also start changing, not only personal level but on a global level. And when Pluto makes a square, this is what's happening. It's almost like burning our bridges. We can't go back. Or the only direction we can do is go forward. And to a Pluto in Aquarius, this forward movement is extremely fast and probably showing us more information than we can honestly comprehend at the moment. But in June, Pluto will be retrograding back into Capricorn, and that will sort of slow down these energies, allowing us time to breathe and properly assimilate what has come through, what's important, what we can relate to, and what really should be discarded. So all of these are actually impacting upon the eclipse as well. So circling back to the eclipse, this is, I suppose, if you want to do any magic, new moon, I wouldn't be manifesting anything. I know it's very popular these days to use new moons for manifestation, but it's an eclipse, it's transformation. Since it's all about self-identity, who you are, I'll be sitting there in reflection, contemplation, meditation on identity on these Aryan themes as to who am I? Who am I really? What false identities am I still hanging on to? And what identities are people still relating to that no longer apply to me? Things that are outdated, it's time to let those things go. All those old patterns, I've said all that before. And in doing that, then we can more freely realign ourselves to all these new energies that are coming through, and also new possibilities that are out there in the cosmos that may be blocked because we're still caught up looking backwards in that old mindset. It's using this eclipse, this new moon eclipse, it's also an invitation to consider what are the identities that we have taken on, even illusions. The roles that we've stepped into, we may not even be consciously aware of them, and whether it's time to walk away from them. And in doing so, we allow ourselves to welcome in the new and reach forward, which will enable us to reach our higher potentials even better. And again, clues to this will be in your natal chart as to what's being triggered in Aries and Taurus, what house these two place astrological signs are in. So I'm going to do another video, I think, because I've got too many notes here. I've got about 5 pages in this book on other triggers for this eclipse that you may find interesting. As with everything, please check out the astrologers below. They'll be linking whose information I've sort of like compiled for this, whose reports are found of interest, and support them as well. Visit their websites and their YouTubes, their reports. And yeah, happy eclipse season. It's going to be interesting. Blessings.